for joining me for the long-awaited day 26 of 31 Days to Love Your Lettering, where we're talking about watercolor lettering with a water brush. So, hey guys! So, long time no see, and I've flipped my camera because of where I need to plug it in, and so I need to reorient to where the camera is. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. And that we've done one of the instructional periscopes, so that's kind of, it may be a little bumpy. So I hope you guys have lots of patience, and you'll have to let me know if this is too dark when I flip the camera to do the notebook. So hopefully it won't be too bad. Hi, Nina. So for those of you that might be joining for the first time, my name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com, which is looking at life creatively. Back in October, I wrote a series called 31 Days to Love Your Lettering, and in March of this spring, we went through the 31 days live again. Except that in the last few weeks, I have been in the process of moving, and so we've not done live demos as we've made some adjustments here at the house. Hi guys! So it is good to have you all joining me again. Those of you that were here this afternoon, I kind of gave a little update about how I'm sort of freaking out about Catch disappearing, because all the old videos that are embedded in the blog post for this series, of course, were all hosted on Catch, and that's going away. But we do have some stopgap measures in place. We went and got an external drive today to move all of those videos over, so that I have that backed up before I have a chance to refilm for YouTube. So we're working on it. We're kind of going to take it a step at a time. Hopefully the connection is doing okay. We are definitely adjusting to a new internet provider. We're using broadband instead of cable here at the new house, so it's definitely a bit of an adjustment from what we were used to. So this is the last couple days of the instructional portion of the 31 Days to Love Your Lettering. The last few days of the series were about helpful books, useful resources, and tips and tools that you might want to enjoy once you've gotten that introduction to lettering. The ways that you might want to expand a little bit on your pen stash and things like that. So tonight we're going to talk about using a water brush. I have a few different ones that I'll show you, and I'll explain a little bit about what the difference is with them. And we are using pan watercolors, and I am using a very inexpensive set that I got for about $2. And that's how I'll show you how we'll do that tonight. Then another watercolor technique that we have is a faux resist using a gel pen. The Sakura Glaze pen creates a good faux resist. So we'll see how quickly we go through tonight, if we just hop into that or not. So with that being said, I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll see if we can get started, and hopefully everything is nice and clear for you guys to see. It's not too dark because I don't have my alt light at this desk, so if we need to get it, I will do that. Okay, so, and I have a feeling I probably will need to get it. Does that seem kind of dark to you all? Okay, so that was my older sample. So if you are new to this series, and I'm trying to reposition, I'm at a new desk at the new house, so figuring out what my desktop real estate has been a bit of an adjustment. I think we'll be okay. I know it's very blurry for you. Okay. I think that's probably from being so dark. So let me see if I can hook up the hot light. Oh, you've not missed Lady Hill. If you'll tell me your name, I'll try to learn it, or at least refer to you by your name. I'm going to go ahead and plug in a light, and hopefully, Carrie, it's nice to meet you. So I know we are long overdue. So I've kind of gotten, my desks are in the center of my new studio, which is awesome for being able to make full use of my room. However, all my outlets are on the edge of the room. So I am so glad. The videos are kind of the fun part for me. Of course, writing the instructions on the blog post is okay. I don't mind that, but getting to demo the live stuff is actually quite a bit more fun. And so that's kind of been the joy of Periscope. And then this, I was able to embed those videos into the blog post, but then Catch is not renewing, and we have to say goodbye to that. So, but I'm not going to cry about that right now. So, if you're looking for more information, hopefully that light helped brighten it a little bit, maybe. Okay. So I am CreativLEI.com. If you go to /loveyourlettering, you can find more information about this series. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm CreativLEI in most places. Pinterest, I am CreativLEI Made. I do have lettering boards there, as well as pens and things like that. So we can go ahead and scratch that out. And let me flip to some clean paper. And of course, I'm going to have like all sorts of malfunctions tonight because it's been so long. Okay, so let's skip this. I'm going to turn to a clean page. There we go. Okay, so I am holding my book Landscape just so that you guys can see more of the workspace. Let's see if that light is helping at all. Okay, so here are some water brushes. Hi Maritza, it's good to see you. Okay, so we have a few different types here. So this is the water brush from Sakura. And it's got nylon bristles, and you fill the barrel with water. That's what a water brush is. You are filling it with the barrel with water instead of ink or paint. And so this is the one from Michaels. This is the Recollections medium-sized brush. This one is the Pentel Aquash, or Aquash, and this is, I believe, their large brush. This is a little bit bigger than the medium. And then these two are from Kuretake. This is the one that's sold under... It's still blurry for you? Is anyone else noticing it blurry? Hi, Sylvia. The Kuretake ones, it's blurry for you also. Goodness, it does not look blurry to me looking through the screen, but let me see if I can get it to focus. I know it is a little dark. Goes in and out for you. And, okay, I need to switch around this lighting. Gets pixelated with my hand. Okay. Oh boy. And this, it may be the broadband. It's like I said, that's something that's transitioning. The lighting isn't bad. I noticed when my hand went over that, it did go really dark. So, and I'm not certain. It may be the connection. Oh gosh. You guys are really patient. I mean, all kinds of a mess here, right? Hey, Cherise. Okay, so here we go. So here's all the different aqua brushes or water brushes that I have handy. And I do find that my favorites tend to be the smaller brushes. I do like those more. They are a bit easier to handle, I think, than the medium brushes because they're closer to the natural size that I write at. And because when you start to use the medium or the large brushes, you're going to have to write bigger. And so that's a little bit more work with our hands, and it just takes a bit of a more adjustment. All right, so this is a pan set from UB from Target. I don't know that they still make them, but Crayola would be similar. And what they are is it's a semi-moist pan set of watercolors. So it's not chalky. It actually has a little bit of give and sheen to it. I think that's how you'll know that it's semi-moist. If you can't find that, the Prang set is another one that's pretty reasonably priced, usually for under $3. And it's a good way to get an inexpensive set of watercolors. And you see mine are like really, really used. They give you reliable color results when you're mixing colors too. So I know you can see there's only 8 colors on the palette, but you can, since the color, the pigment is so true, you can actually blend quite well with those to make a larger palette. If you do a lot more watercoloring and you want to invest in a bigger set, one of the other ones that's available is the Sakura Sketch Field Box, and that has a few more colors. This is a 24 color set. But I will tell you that more often than not, I tend to use my very inexpensive pan sets. And the way you're going to want to prep them is I use just a spritz bottle, and I just prime them by spritzing the pan. Okay, and then it's ready to go for me. So I've got it kind of just moved up. Let's fry it in front of me. And really what you're going to do is kind of the same techniques as when we did brush lettering with our brush markers, the Fudenosuke pens. It's a very similar technique, except now you've got a pen that's full of water and you're going to pick up the color before you do it. So again, we're going to do very fine upstrokes and a broad downstroke. So I'm going to need a little more water. And as you hold the pen, when you're adding the pressure, your hand is going to add more water, because as you press in on the barrel, you tend to release more water. And that's kind of there's a learning curve to that as you start to feel like what's too much water, what's too little. Like you can see how here it was really kind of dry, and then here's a little bit more water. So your results are not going to be as super consistent. It's going to be a lot more flowy than with the marker. I do not press the whole time that I'm writing. A lot of times some of the water is going to pool in those bristles, and so you're just going to use what's there. So you're going to form the letters the same way that you do with the brush pen. You're going to go up, you're going to go broad down, kind of release, and then go up thin and broad down. So I'm lefty, so my righties that are with me, of course, you're going to not be pushing the pen, you'll be pulling it. So you would go up, you would come down with pressure, start to release as you start to come up again. So I'm kind of running out of color there. So you can see the results are definitely more flowy. Don't know what's another word to describe it, but you're gonna get definitely just a lighter, more subtle differences or with the color, and then you can get pretty good difference between the hairline upstroke and the broader downstroke. So you can just kind of play with words and letters. And when you start to see that you're losing too much color, go back in and reload. Okay. For me, using the water brush, I had to be willing to not have perfect letters. Once you start to allow the paint to play, it's a little bit easier because it's just, you're not going to get those crisp precision lines that you do with the pointed pen or a Fudenosuke pen, you've got more more subtle lines there. Then if you wanted to go between the colors, you're going to switch colors on that, the difference between the upstroke and beginning another downstroke. So let's try, we'll start with purple and we'll do kind of rainbow letters. So I'm going to come up and go down. So now I'm going to come up for another upstroke. So I'm going to switch to blue. And kind of pick up a little bit from where I left off. Come back down. Okay, now I'm going to switch the color again to the green. And again, I'll come back, blending a little bit from where the last letter was. Okay, I'll switch to yellow now. Oh, I have a lot of water there now. Okay, so you're just kind of grabbing the tail of your last letter and blending from there. So the more water you have going through the brush, the more that's going to feed back into that last letter. And then I'm going to come back over to purple. Okay. Thanks, Maritza. So you have just a little bit of blending where the letters are meeting, just a little bit of overlapping helps you to kind of get the continuation of that word. You can do it if you didn't want to switch every letter. You could do half the letter like an ombre, and what you would do is, again, you're going to just kind of trace over the tail or the exit stroke of your previous letter to get you that blend, and then you would do the other mixing in your palette. You can, I use the cover part of my pan as my palette to do some mixing of colors or diluting what has been picked up on the brush. Okay, so, and you can do, if you don't want to work it with the brush lettering, you could certainly do these same techniques and use a watercolor to do print as well. So let's pick up another color. Let's start with green this time. So you can play with your typography, so go kind of a broad downstroke. If I need to squeeze out water, I'll squeeze out the water up top and then bring that onto the pan a bit. So again, I'll remind you that when you're using the water brush, you're not going for perfection, because the watercolor lettering is quite a bit more flow and flexibility there. So again, with faux typography, I make my vertical lines broad and my horizontal ones are my hairlines. So the watercolor allows you to go back over a spot if you want it a little bit darker. Okay, and then you could always, like, say, now I've got the green down there, and if I wanted to go over and add some more color for interest, I can do some blending right on the letters. Okay. So any questions about using a water brush? And it just takes a bit of practice to get the feel for when you need to squeeze water out and when you want to just use the water that's been collected on the brush. Okay, I'll switch to a medium, since this is what's, I did find these, of course, were bought locally at Michael's, and then I was able to get the fine brush from Michael's as well, and this was in the section that has the Tim Holtz items. So this was packaged under Tim Holtz, but it is a Kuretake brush, and it's I think it's called small or fine. So here's the medium, which you can see is quite a bit bigger. So it means I'll have to write bigger. So because your brush size will dictate how big you want to make your letters in order to have room to see the thick and thins. So I tend to kind of go slow on the downstrokes and go a little bit faster on the upstrokes to keep that line a bit finer. You don't want to be pressing that reservoir of water while you're writing, because what you'll do is end up with a mess. Like, you've got too much water there. So that's what happens when you press as you're writing. You want to kind of use what's in the bristles. Okay, and you can always go back to fix any strokes that you miss. So that's the basics of using the water brush. Like I said, it takes a little bit of adjusting because now you've got nylon bristles that you're writing with instead of the nylon brush nib, which would be a little bit different, that flexible nib. This is actually bristles like your paintbrush. And if you don't have a water brush and you're using a regular paintbrush, you're going to use very similar techniques for the drawing of the letters, except that you're going to make sure that you've got adequate water mixed into your paint when you load the brush, because you won't have the option of adding just a tad bit more water as you're writing. So if anybody has any questions, I would love to take your questions now before we finish up for tonight. Tomorrow I will hop on and show you the faux resist using the Sakura glaze pen, which is really fun. Hopefully your week has gone well. Ours is a little bit crazy and chaotic. And there goes the tripod again. Out of practice. So how many of you have been watching Facebook Live videos? Are you finding Facebook Live easier to follow, or is Periscope still the preferred? I feel like in the weeks that we were without internet getting our new service, I kind of lost a lot of the current information. So now I'm trying to play catch up a bit. You haven't watched any Facebook Live? I know, I like Periscope because I feel like the interaction happens a little bit easier. I've had a problem watching the Facebook Live on my laptop, and I don't know if it's my connection or they're still working out kinks. We shall see. But I'm certain I will try it. I don't know. There's a lot to consider. Everything changed in the matter of a couple weeks. You missed the transition, so you missed them. Of the letters, I'm going to exit. I know, Maritza, that was certainly what I was really concerned about this afternoon. We did go out and purchase an additional external drive so that I can get all those videos off of Catch. Oh, yeah. I've never tried the Facebook video yet. So we did get, we got a external drive tonight, so I'm going to work tomorrow and through the weekend about getting the Catch videos moved over. Sorry, turn that light off. So hopefully I'll be able to move those over and then figure out which ones will go on YouTube, but it is still my goal this summer to film specifically for YouTube so that those instructions are a little more clear and I don't have to worry about trying to make sense of answering questions. I'll try and pull the information that I got during the live broadcast and use those to help me give a demonstration that's pretty explanatory through that. So we'll see, but that was not going to happen until the summer, and then with Catch going away, we'll do that just a little bit sooner than I was actually ready to do it, but we'll get it done. It'll be kind of slow going. So I know that was kind of a messy Periscope first time back after weeks. Which water pen is smaller? Each brand carries different sizes. My preferred one for the small brush is by Kuretake. It's their small water brush. Their medium is just a little bit bigger. Pentel, they do make a small one, but I think it's not quite as fine as Kuretake. Most of the time, the other brands, the best you can find is the medium, which is nice, but I just like for starting, because the small is closer to the size of the Fudenosuke pens, I find that it was a little bit easier, and mostly because I tend to work smaller, and so the smaller brush was better for working small. The medium brush, you kind of want to work bigger. So I don't work very big all the time, usually not. So that's all I have for tonight, is kind of getting my feet back wet. What type of regular brush would I use? For a regular paintbrush, you probably will want to start with a size 2 or a size 1 round brush. That will be similar to a fine. My paintbrushes are on the other side of the desk. I will take some of those out tomorrow and do some of the lettering with those. I do prefer the water brush just because having the ability to add the water to whatever paint I'm using is very helpful. But you can learn this with whatever paintbrush you have access to. Oh, Maritza, this was your first live lesson. I know. We're going to have to figure out definitely how to do it, because that's part of the fun, is that like going through the live ones. Thank you. It's this series, and getting to do it more than once has been a big blessing to me. So going through it again, but then having to like stop in the middle, that was not fun. So we will catch up. There's just 2 more left. and then we're going to try and figure out where to go next. I know I was asking this afternoon because my hope this summer is to do a few mini series using the different pens that we used throughout the Love Your Lettering series. You just got your water brushes today. Awesome. So which ones did you get? Because you'll see there's just subtle differences between the different ones. So I'm trying to figure out what should be the first mini series after Love Your Lettering for those that want to continue to do more styles with the pens that they've gotten, because that's kind of the blog series was free, but I fully recognize that you guys have been investing in different tools throughout the series. And so now going forward, I want to give you opportunities to use those pens for more things. So trying to figure out which ones to do first. The Derwent paint water brushes. Derwent makes water brushes too. I didn't know that. I have other things from them, but I don't have water brushes from them. So there will be lots. I'll keep you guys posted. I have not sent out any newsletters through the blog in a little while, just because there was not new information to put out. Everything was kind of on hold during the move. So we are settling fairly well. My studio is pretty much moved into. I still need to paint, but that's okay. I thought that maybe I wasn't going to paint, but I definitely want to. You practice the filigree beginnings and endings. Yes, we will do more of that. Flourishing comes a little bit more naturally the more you play with it, because the more your whichever hand gets used to making those movements, the easier it becomes to make a very natural and flowy flourish. And then finding the places to put those flourishes comes the more you're writing and the more you're combining words, you're starting to find the spaces where those flourishes will naturally go. So all of that we definitely will cover more in future mini series. I think 1 week to 2 weeks at a time will keep everything really a little more doable, hopefully. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day. That really is. It seems like it's not enough, but 5 to 10 minutes a day will transform the way you're writing in a fairly short amount of time. Certainly in a month, but you will notice big differences just in 2 weeks. So I will work on that. I will keep you guys posted. I will be back on tomorrow night doing faux watercolor resist. And if I don't see you before then, I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.